And the result of all that power is absolutely mind-blowing. Of all the models of Porsche 911 on sale right now, this is by far the most interesting. It's the new GTS and, brace yourselves, it's the first hybrid Porsche 911. Now that doesn't mean this car has a great big battery and can drive on battery power alone and you need to plug it in and it's super efficient and it's here to save the planet. No, it can't do any of those things. In simple terms, there's a small battery, really quite small, in the front, and then that sends power to two motors. Now they don't drive the wheels, instead one of them is in the 8-speed gearbox and one of them is in the turbocharger. So what happens is when you accelerate, both of those motors get involved immediately, one driving the gearbox, one helping out the turbocharger. Together with the engine, of course, they deliver a great big slug of power and torque pretty much instantly. There's just no turbo lag at all, as far as I can tell. And there's a nice little display in front of the driver that shows exactly what's going on and just how hard the system is working. You can see the charge state of the battery and what it's doing at any moment. As soon as you accelerate, you can see it's feeding power into the drivetrain, and then as soon as you lift off, coast or brake, energy's being sent back into the battery. It's constantly charging and discharging just to give you more performance. The result is that this GTS is the quickest, most powerful Porsche 911 you can currently buy. Now I didn't notice this at first, but when you start the car, there's no starter motor, there's no sort of moment of the engine being kicked into life. Listen, it just, as soon as I press the button, it starts. It's just absolutely instant, because of course there's an electric motor there helping to get things going. And the result of all that power is absolutely mind-blowing. Oh my God. Put it into, obviously it's an 8-speed semi-automatic PDK gearbox, but you can press the M button there, get it into manual, and then use the paddles. It sounds so good. Oh, second gear. Oh, it just goes. It just goes. And remember, this is just two-wheel drive. Since we're in a bit of traffic now, maybe I should just demonstrate hi-fi, calm things down a bit, change to normal mode with the switch on the steering wheel. The exhaust has got quieter, the suspension has got a little bit softer. It's still quite firm, to be honest, in normal and sport. In Sport Plus, it gets really very firm. It's 10 millimeters lower than the standard 911, a bit firmer too, and these seats obviously are going to take away some of the pliancy you might get in a standard 911. It makes the drive feel a little bit more, you know, a bit more involving, a bit firmer, a bit stiffer, a bit less comfortable, if I'm being honest. You do find yourself wincing a little bit when you see a pothole emerging over the horizon, or when you see a speed bump coming into view and there's not a lot you can do about it. Yeah, there's going to be a bit of a crash. The car deals with it perfectly well, but it is a firm ride. There's no getting away from that. It would potentially stop me using this as an everyday car. Maybe I'd get used to it, but it's been a week now and it is still quite firm. And with it being a little bit lower than the standard car, and with the design at the front being a little bit more aggressive, you are more conscious of it being lower and being more vulnerable perhaps to speed bumps or to curbs. It's not like driving a supercar. It's not like having to worry about scuffing the chin of your Lamborghini or your Ferrari. There is no nose lift. Not sure if that's an option, but it manages without. You just need to be a little bit more careful. I thought I'd sit down somewhere quiet for a few minutes just so we can go through the specifications of this car. It's a 911, of course it's a flat six, 3.6 litre single turbo. Again, it's got that electric motor to get things going a little bit more quickly than the twin turbo alternatives. 541 horsepower, 610 newton meters of torque. That's a huge amount of torque. That's what you feel. That's what this T hybrid system delivers. 8-speed PDK gearbox, we know all about that. Shifter in the middle there, and then paddles behind the steering wheel. if you want to change gear yourself. They're quite small. I've never been a big fan of Porsche's paddles. I've got to be honest, I prefer the bigger ones that you get from the Italians. They're a bit more flamboyant. They're sometimes a little bit in the way because you can't reach the indicators. So I understand why Porsche will go for the smaller ones for that reason. You don't really notice them, and I feel less inclined to use them. I'm happy just letting the gearbox do its own thing, which, is that right in what's supposed to be a driver's car? I don't know. One small criticism actually, I've found I don't like this car's start-stop system. Normally I think they're great, but this one, it really likes to cut the engine before you've stopped moving, which when you're in sort of stop-start traffic is a bit disconcerting. So if you're just moving slowly on the brake, sometimes it just cuts the engine, and it knows that you're sort of moving, and that's fine, but it's a little bit disconcerting. I don't like it. So I've taken to actually turning that off. As I said earlier, 0 to 60, 2.9, 0 to 62, 3 seconds, although I think Porsche's being conservative there. I think on a dry day, if you get those rear tyres hooked up, it's more like 2.7 to 60, I reckon. 194 mile per hour top speed. Now, interestingly, Porsche does give the figures for economy. It says 25.7 to 26.9 mpg. I've actually seen more than that. The computer itself has told me it's got up to 27, 28 miles per gallon, which for a car as potent as this is not bad. Of course, if you drive hard, that's going to fall pretty quickly, and even if you're just driving in traffic, in city traffic in London where I live, it's been as low as sort of 12 mpg. But high 20s on a run, on a motorway run, that's pretty good, isn't it? A couple of small changes inside from the previous generation include the starter button. It's a button now instead of a key-like thing that you used to turn. The digital display in front of the driver now is fully digital. You used to get an analog rev counter there, that's now gone. I see Porsche has got rid of the 4th and 5th dials that the Taycan has and are completely useless because they're hidden behind the steering wheel. So well done, Porsche, you've got rid of those. Lots of Alcantara in here, suede on the steering wheel, on the dashboard, on the handles, on the doors, on the roof lining. Business as usual on the dashboard, touchscreen in the middle running Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, wireless, lots of buttons. We love buttons, don't we? And Porsche hasn't tried to give us too many touch screens or haptic touch pads like we've seen in other supercars and sports cars recently, like Ferrari. Instead, buttons, nice physical clicky buttons, scroll wheels, lovely little toggle switches here for the air conditioning, and primary controls here for like your sports exhaust. Porsche just gets this right, don't they? Even the mirror controls, I can't believe I'm having to say this, the mirror controls are buttons. Usual, fantastic Porsche 911 seating position, driving position, lots of adjustability for the steering wheel. These seats are optional. They're about £4,000, £4,500, which is quite a lot. You know what, the more I look at it, the more I think it's the best looking 911 for absolutely ages. It's just stunning, isn't it? It's a great spec, a great colour, but I think those vents at the front, they just give it a little bit more aggression, don't they? They make it look a little bit more sporty and they help it stand out from the rest of the range. Well done, Porsche. Well done. It's absolutely phenomenal. And I think what I like most about it is how it blends the power that we used to get from the full-fat 911 Turbo with the usability and mostly the design and the looks of the lesser models. So it's a usable car that just so happens to be incredibly powerful and uses hybrid technology. And it uses it in such an interesting way, doesn't it? Oh, there's so much to unpack here. You probably can't hear that on the microphone, but you do get a little bit of a whoosh from the turbo and the wastegates when you lift off, which is always fun, isn't it? We love it when cars make little silly noises. Bit slow on the gear change then, wasn't I? Amateur. Following someone, and they have a sign, a logo on their rear windscreen that says, "My driving scares me too." The thing with modern sports cars though, especially ones that are as quick as this, you just can't use them on the public road. I mean, 60 miles an hour is 4,500 RPM in third. So there's still 3,000 to go in third, but I can't tell you what number that is. Do you know another thing that Porsche does right? The speed limit beeping. you must be familiar with it. Since 2024, all new cars pretty much have to attempt to read the speed limit, to know the local speed limit, and then tell the driver when they go 1 mile an hour over. We know these systems don't always work. We know they sometimes misread the sign, but the beep happens anyway. To turn the beep off, it's just a button here. You press it once, and that's it. The system is switched off. No going into touch screens, no messing around trying to find the right sub-menu with the setting in. It's just there. It's just a button on the steering wheel. I think whether the car feels uncomfortable or not is dependent on the mood you're in. I'm near Goodwood. It's a sunny day. I'm in a good mood. So I'm kind of okay with it being a little bit, a little bit firm. But if I was driving to a dentist appointment on a rainy Monday morning, I might be a bit annoyed by it. If only it had the button that Ferraris have, the bumpy road mode, just slackens the dampers off a little bit, so you can still have all the sporty goodness, but just soften slightly, just have the edge taken off. That's what Porsche could do with this. Let's do some pros and cons. We'll start with the cons, since I was talking about the firm ride. It is a con some of the time, but it's a con you're fully aware of. You go into purchasing a car like this with your eyes wide open, you'll know that it's a firm ride. So it's a con, but not all the time. The stop-start system, I get it, it works, you can trust it to work, but I just don't. I know I should trust it, but I just don't. It cuts the engine out just a little bit too much for my liking. I find it a little bit unnerving when the engine goes off while I'm moving. The seats, I probably wouldn't spec them, just because they're really impractical. They don't fold, they're a bit of a pain to get in and out of. That's about it. The positives, well, they pretty much speak for themselves, don't they? The performance is outrageous. It really is massive. The way this thing just launches itself at the horizon it's shocking. It really is. It reminds me the first time I drove, and only very briefly, when I drove the previous generation 911 Turbo, and that felt like it just leapt forward. It's a similar sort of rate of acceleration as you get from a Porsche Taycan, but the sensations are turned up a notch because there's an engine, because there's noise, because there's just so much more driver involvement, and because it's rear-wheel drive and not four, you sense that it is on the edge of grip a little bit when you really accelerate hard from low speed, and it just makes it so much more exciting, so much more intoxicating. Another benefit has to be the usability. It's a 911, so you could use it every day if you want to. You can put your kids in the back, you can put a suitcase or two in the front. It's not too wide that you're scared about driving in London traffic. It'll get through a 7-foot width restrictor. It should go through a 6'6" as well. You could use it every day. And people don't look at it. I'm sat here thinking, oh, I'm driving something special here because it's so powerful, because I'm in this carbon bucket seat. I feel like I mean business, but no one else really notices because it's just a 911. If it's a GT3 with a wing on the back, yeah, sure, everyone's going to look, but because it's a fairly sensible colour, because it's just a 911, people don't really look twice unless they really know what they're looking for. So you kind of fly below the radar, and I like that. It's all the performance of a supercar without anyone noticing. Oh, another negative actually, now the speed's just crept up a bit, it's quite loud in here. 911s have had this for a while now. Big wide tyres, and there's just a lot of road roar. Probably not helped by the lack of seats. I imagine they help a little bit with sound deadening. There's a good stereo, it's a Bose system in here. I think you can get Porsche's Burmeister upgrade. So you can, crank your music up, crank a podcast up, and it's okay, but if you start talking to your passenger or to a camera, you notice that there is a bit of noise. We should probably talk about the price, shouldn't we? I've said how good this car is. I've said it's the quickest, most powerful 911 you can get. It's the only one with a turbo hybrid system at the moment. It's pretty special, and, well, it's £137,900. Yeah, that's quite a lot, isn't it? 911s have got expensive. Even the base model is over 100,000 these days, which used to be where Ferrari started. This car, being a press car, isn't entirely standard, so on top of that, 1,379 base price. We've got the ice grey metallic paint, about £1,000. It looks good. A lot of people have complimented this car and complimented the colour. I think it's pretty cool. I like it. This car has the preparation for roof transport system, £51. again, sensible family car. And lane change assist, £739. Don't want it, don't need it, haven't used it. Does that thing where it pulls you if it thinks you're going out of lane. Total price of this is £148,463. Right. Should we do a quick launch? So, Sport Plus, foot on the brake, foot on the accelerator, go! Oh, Jesus! Whew. There's quite a lot of wheel spin there. Let's see if we can do that again. Just quickly. Okay, so left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, go! Whoa. That's 60. Whew. Yeah. It's pretty quick, isn't it? Should we do it again? There's an empty road in front of me. It would just be rude not to, wouldn't it? Okay. Okay. So, on the brake, on the accelerator, go! Whoa! Okay. Oh, this car is rapid. And obviously we're getting a fair bit of slip at the start, and as soon as you launch, the computer just says no, and then it seems to just allow you to get away with a little bit of slip. Wow. Yeah, it's a quick thing. It is ferociously quick. It's as quick as you need any car to be. I keep saying that. I say that a lot about modern supercars, but it's sort of true, isn't it? Supercars, sports cars like this, they just don't need to be any quicker, but what they need is to be enjoyable and usable and fun and exciting. That's what this is. It's all of those things. It's usable. You can put kids in the back if you get the seats. You can put suitcases in the front. You can get 28 miles to the gallon. You can cruise for hundreds of miles. Quite a big fuel tank. It's comfortable enough. You can drive it in the town, in the city, and you're not worried about leaving it on a side street. No one's going to vandalize it. It's just a 911. But it's a 911 that's quicker to 60 comfortably than a McLaren F1 or a Ferrari F50 or pretty much anything else. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've liked it, please do click that like button. If you've really liked it, consider subscribing to the channel. Maybe leave a comment and I'll get back to you. And I'll see you on another video very soon.